So thank you very much. Grazie per essere venuti.
Thank you for being here. I'm delighted to welcome you here.
Many distinguished guests and speakers here in our BIOPAP Academy in this bioclimatic building, because everything has a soul, a spirit. Everything is moved by people and by motivation, and we need also to be in the right environment to bring things forward. So it's nice to be all together, united here, to talk about sustainability, sustainable professional catering, because sustainability is not only a vision, it's a mission also, because it's for all of us and it's looking forward. It's a path, it's a mission that we can achieve only if we work together. Of course, everyone needs or can do something, but if we are not together, we will never achieve that. And this is the spirit of the event of today, being together, bring together the whole supply chain to make everybody understanding that we need to have a systemic approach. And this is the approach of BIOPAP, not just looking a detail, a packaging, a material, but imagining solutions, designing materials and process together with our partners to take the greatest challenge of our industry, which means streamline operational efficiency, so being more effective, bringing more food quality to our customers, reduce food waste, extending shelf life, be faster in the process without compromising qualities. All these challenges are our common challenges, and together, without harming the environment, or actually our aim is to make it fully circular, so that there is food is a natural product, and food is part of this fantastic circular path, which is actually about life. So we like to have today this conference. I'm thanking all the guest speakers who are taking part. I will go briefly through the program today. Long-term partners, because this is another important value. We believe in long-term relationship, not opportunistic, because opportunism is short-sight and is selfish. Long-term is for the community and brings the real benefits. So with all the guests and the speakers, we have friendship relationship, whether they are suppliers, they are customers. We call them and we think they are real partners, because this is the way we believe things can move forward. Thank you for, I will just go through the program. We will have 3 modules. We try to make it a bit innovative, because innovation is part of the spirit, and through innovation we can improve all the time. You know, BIOPAP has more than 14 patents. We want to be innovative in the true sense of innovation, where innovation brings benefit throughout the whole chain. So we have these 3 modules. Every module brings an insight to some process using BIOPAP, and you will hear from the voice of our own partners, their own experience, how they were able to interpret the innovation of BIOPAP for their own activity, to improve the own activity, to open new segments, and to be, of course, always more sustainable. So we will start in this process with the real concept. So we will start from our origin, from well-managed certified forest, European forest, with Stora Enso, and we will have Mariuka, head of sustainability of Stora Enso Group, that has been coming directly from Finland for the event. We want to start from our root, and through the process with BIOPAP, with our customer, with food, with you, then see the whole flow of nature, ending up in composting, which means a new life, a new natural life for all food rest and food packaging, remembering that our aim is the full circularity, which will also and is bringing efficiency, energy consumption reduction, better properties with natural ingredients. The second speaker is Walter Bernes, also a friend, long-term friend, that will talk about very interesting success, first application of BIOPAP Easy Genius in a hospital catering. We will have then Mario Sestito, also a friend, I can say, CEO and founder of Polybox, leader in isothermal box for professional catering, with whom we developed at record time a new patented system for carrying our Genius meal trays half cold and half warm without any extra accessories from central kitchen to the final customers. This will be the end of the first module. Then to make it also more lively, we will have at the end of every module a small break where we can have some small drinks or coffee, stretch a bit, but we will have also the possibility to network and also to show in our academy, the process we have been talking about as a real case, practical case. And we make it so lively every module, and then break with some specific trials. Then the second module is about food quality innovation in catering services. And there we have two, again, guest speakers and long-term partners. The first one is Milano Ristorazione, the catering company of the municipality of Milan, which will be presented by Mrs. Fucile, the head of quality, and they will talk about a very interesting process with deep frozen, ultra deep frozen in nitrogen tunnel meal preparations in order to have the best organoleptic quality, using also the performance of BIOPAP containers, innovative containers. And then we will have our also long-term partner and friends from Hoffmanns from Germany that will also be showcasing a real innovation in B2C, in online shop, how to build a new business case with professional deep frozen meals delivered at home in a very interesting and sustainable packaging together with BIOPAP. We will end the second module with Simone Orsi, development and delivery of territorial projects of AMSA. AMSA is the waste management arm of one of the biggest multi-utility of Italy, partly owned by the municipality of Milan, that will showcase and tell about the best practice we have in the city of Milan as the world leader in organic waste collection and treatment. And there will be, at the end of all the modules this afternoon, for some guests that have been subscribed, we will have a visit to La Chiarella plant that is a very innovative plant from AMSA, A2A, with a combined treatment cycle of 100,000 tons of bio-waste in cascade. First anaerobic digestion, then biogas stripping and compression, part for the use in food sector, part for the use for fueling. The same trucks with biomethane that are collecting the waste, and then the sludge or the digestate is then transformed into compost, being fully circular and going to agriculture for the local agriculture. The last module, so there's a lot of things. Again, there will be a break with some showcasing. The last module is about how to increase shelf life and circularity in packaging. Again, with the showcase of BIOPAP Innovation, we will have two experts, Mr. Valerio Recchia of Medicare industry, one of the world leader of compressed or liquefied gases for the treatment in the food segment. And the second case will be held by Professor Sara Limbo. She's not yet here because she's teaching this morning, and as soon as she finishes her lessons, she moves here to get us. She is the head of the department of the University of Milan of Food Technology, and she will tell us about the properties of BIOPAP in extending the shelf life just through specific permeation of CO2 of BIOPAP materials without the need of specific gas flushing. And we will end with Mrs. Alessandra Porro, and so it's a natural ending because of this whole cycle we end up in composting, and that is here on behalf of CIC, the Italian Composting Consortium and Biogas Consortium, so gathering all the Italian operators where, you know, Italy has among the world leadership in bio-waste treatment locally, and she will talk us about the very positive effect on local economy and on local practices on bio-waste collection and composting. So it's already very long. I thank you very much. I thank, of course, friends and customers who have been traveling from, I name the further, from Australia, from Singapore, of course from Finland, from Germany, from Croatia, from France, from Spain. So we have guests from all over, of course from Italy. Also very important guests, not because you are near, but thank you for being here. We have also a lot of guests which are following us in streaming because they couldn't be here, but they wanted to join. So it's a live international event. Thank you for, and it's really with the heart that I give the word to Marjuka for the first presentation. Thank you very much.
So maybe we actually stay here on this slide. Yes, so I'm from Stora Enso, and Stora Enso is a big forest industry company from the Nordics mostly, but we operate globally, of course, and sell globally. But it all starts with the forests, and therefore here we have also this spruce sprout on the screen. But we are a renewable materials company, and I will just have a very quick introduction to what Stora Enso is. but then let's go then to the sustainability topics and to the forest more closer. But we operate mainly in Sweden and Finland, I mean operation-wise, so we have big production units in these countries, but then we of course have operation units as well elsewhere, both in Europe and then in China. And we have about 19,000 employees globally at this moment. We mostly produce three types of materials, if I would put it that way. So we have packaging materials and packaging, but then we also operate in construction sector, producing construction materials, and then also bio-based innovations, so lignin-based innovations, for example. But I come from packaging, and now we talk about packaging, so this is like my home turf. And we produce a lot of different packaging materials for different packaging end uses. Here you can see we have a lot of consumer boards and then also container boards. So wide variety of different packaging materials, but then also corrugated packaging from our different another business area. But then, so that's Stora Enso. So now you have an idea of how we or with what all we operate with. But if we go to the sustainability, so our sustainability agenda is built on three material areas where we have the biggest impacts. Climate change is of course important for all of us, and it's also important for us. We have big operation units, but then we also have forests that absorb carbon. So we definitely have an impact on climate. Then circularity is very important for us. We have circularity targets. We are a large producer of packaging materials and packaging, so we want to make sure that the materials that we produce are also then circular in recycling, but then also composting is of course seen as one alternative end-of-life option for our materials. And then biodiversity. And we want to be biodiversity net positive by 2050. And it's a journey, and I will tell more about that journey now on the following slides. We operate in forests. We use a lot of wood as raw material, and we have both our own forests and we have forests that we manage, but then we also work a lot with private forest owners, and like I think it's said here as well, that 64% of our wood supply comes actually from the forest owner, like other forest owners than us. We have forests in Sweden, and then we have an ownership in Finland via this Tornator company, where we also own forests, and then we also operate in plantations. So two very different types of forest types where we operate in. But all of this land, all of the wood that we use is coming from the some sort of like certified sources. It's either FSC or BEFC certified, or then it comes from the controlled system. That means that, for example, for FSC, FSC has their own controlled system for the wood that is not FSC certified. And then BEFC has their own due diligence system for the wood that does not come from the certified forests. And how this practically works, I don't now have a slide. I should have had a slide about this, but it practically works so that for certification, as the forest ownership is so different in different countries, and for example in Finland, where I'm from, forest ownership is very heavily based on private forest owners. For example, my family owns a small area of forest in southeast Finland. And then it's up to the forest owners whether the forest area is certified with the FSC or BEFC certification. And in Finland, BEFC certification is more common, whereas then in Sweden, FSC certification is maybe a bit more common. And then, so it all starts with the forest owners, and as we supply also 64% of the wood from the private forest owners, then it's also like us working with the private forest owners, spreading the information about the certification systems, etc. But for us, it's very important that everything comes from these controlled sources that don't necessarily have the certification, but have this system anyway in place. Because it all starts with the sustainable forest management. It's very important that when we want to be kind of proud of our renewable raw materials, we need to make sure that the renewable raw materials also come from sustainably managed resources, like sustainably managed forest in our case. And forests, of course, they have an important role in climate change. Like I said, they absorb carbon and then have carbon stored in the forests. But then also biodiversity is of course very important, and we need to be very kind of responsible with the biodiversity management. And what we then do there, I have some kind of concrete actions in the next slides, but one of course is that we ensure after the felling that we also plant new seedlings in the forest, and it's important that we plant more than what we harvest. And then, like I said also, that we work with our with the forest owners, private forest owners, and also educate them in the biodiversity actions, for example, and forest management actions, so that they can then also manage their land in a more sustainable manner. Then here in these green boxes, I have some other statistics as well. So 99% of the land that we own or manage are covered by certification. And then about 80% of the wood that we use is then certified. And the rest is coming from these controlled systems. And then biodiversity. I would say that this is quite ambitious target that we have set to ourselves, as of course we are operating with forest material and wood coming from forests, but we have committed to become net positive on biodiversity by 2050. And when this was announced in 2021, we didn't really know that how we will do this, how we will kind of reach this target and reach this ambition. So it all started with an action plan, basically. Of course, part of the action plan is to continue the active management practices where biodiversity is also, of course, part of. So be kind of active and take the kind of the scientific approach on both on landscape level, but then also on the habitat level, which means a forest stand basically, or then species level. So those actions and the management style is of course one part of this, but then it's also about measuring. How do we measure it? How can we kind of know whether we are going to the right direction if we don't have tools to measure our impact on biodiversity? And this is something where we have now partnered up with the IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And there we are building a framework for measuring our biodiversity impact and really validating the actions that are we going to the right direction and are we able to reach this net positive impact by 2050. But then it's also, so it's about the management styles, then it's about the validation, but then it's also about innovation actually. So we need innovation in the forests too. It's about new technologies. It's about following if there are kind of a new concepts we could take into implementation in forest management, etc. And then the last is the partnerships and global alignment. So we are telling about our approach actively, like here I'm now telling you about our approach, but also in the conferences that are focused on biodiversity, because this is quite unique in the forest industry to take this kind of an approach where we then measure the biodiversity impact. But this is a journey. So this journey has started already in the 90s. And since then, we've been, of course, working with sustainable forestry, learning all the time new. We most definitely will still continue learning new things, also learning more about our impacts, and then taking it then forward from those learnings. But this is, I hope I didn't take too much time, but this is in short our approach to forest management, to certification, and to biodiversity management. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Buongiorno a tutti. Buongiorno a tutti, mi chiamo Walter, vengo dalla Croazia e vi racconto la nostra situazione con il Easy Genius, come è cominciato e cosa siamo riusciti a fare in Croazia. Allora, fine 2024, dicembre 2024.
At the end of 24, we were called by the biggest hospital in Zagreb because they were closing down the kitchen due to innovation. And they expected to be closed for about 4 or 5 months. And so throughout this time period, they had to find an alternative on how to provide the food to their patients for these 4 months, because they had no kitchen. And so the food came from outside Zagreb, 40 kilometers away from the hospital, and we had to find a way to get it to the patient, still warm and, of course, in the best way possible. They were looking for a product that was sustainable, and they did not want to use plastics for trays, and something that could be recycled as well, the trays. So the biggest issue for us was to find a product that could, lower their costs for the entire hospital. So we made a presentation, and with our owner, of course, to the responsible, the kitchen manager of the hospital. And so we proposed Easy Genius. So we explained to them how it works, what the features are for Easy Genius, materials used, and everything else. And so they gave us green light to get started with this project. So the nicest thing in this project was that it was with no actual training for the hospital staff. As of day one, they could serve more than 250 meals with no training needed, so in the first hour. So this was, they wanted to go for 1,000 meals a day, or rather 3,000, because they had breakfast, lunch and dinner to serve. So we provided them with 3 machines so they could handle at best their production of meals, so as to serve them to the patients straight in their rooms, directly to their rooms. So they could also see that the product was really very, very good. They could prepare it ahead of time. They could, warm it up gradually or freeze it and do whatever they wanted. And it was very efficient as a way and as an approach. So for what they needed, that was optimal. No, we put together an improvised line the first day, so to speak, in order to get the meals through, because it was very new for them. They didn't have the kitchen anymore. We had to put together something on an improvised way, off the cuff, so to speak, and so it looked like, this big table. This was the assembly line, so to speak, and the people put the food in the containers. There was someone who decided what food would to be served to which patients, because some people can only, take in liquid food or, solid food. So depending, so the preparing staff was there. They were putting the food in the trays, and then there were the servers taking the food to the rooms. The most interesting thing of this genius is this: since there are many patients who could not, get out of bed, they had to eat in their bed while lying down. So they needed a product that could not create any problems. For example, if you have a soup and then you have a piece of meat and then bread, everything is quite complicated, gets complicated if you have to, bedridden. And so, as it is the case here, you start from the beginning, you open one tray, and that's the food is all there. So this was much easier for the people, for the patients. So we were a bit worried on how these patients could, react to this kind of product. But in the end, we were very happy, and everything worked out nicely, because you need to also look at the food in the tray, and it must look nice. Should look nice. This is easy transportable. You can show this. Easy here. This is how it looks. This is the box. You can put 6 pieces in height. You can pile it up, stack it. So very practical, handled very easily, and also for eating using it as a plate. So these are the assembly boxes to take the food to bring the food to the rooms, and so very good for warming it up and for keeping it warm and everything else. So okay, here. The interesting thing for everyone, the hospital in particular, of course, is the temperature that could be reached, that could be, sterilized, the product. Yes, it can be sterilized. You can do that because in many wards in the hospital there are sterile wards. You have just been operated upon and you have to undergo special treatments. You should not get in touch with germs or bacteria. So this is a sterile product, so it can be used for this kind of patients with no danger at all. So everything then goes into the composting, box or container, and there's no waste of material. No material is being wasted in this way. So we know that this is 100% renewable and recyclable. We know this, and we are very proud of being the first in Croatia in using this kind of product. And we could present it to the Croatian government because it was never used before. This is such a good product in all respects. And very interesting indeed and attractive, 100% renewable, recyclable, and so it's a great product. It's a great, item. So that's it, and this is the end for me. I don't want to say anything else. I'm sort of emotional. So thank you so much, and this is our story I wanted to present to you.
Innanzitutto, grazie.
So first and foremost, thank you Michelangelo, thank you BIOPAP for hosting us here today. We are so glad and honored. With BIOPAP, actually, we have great experience. So we've been in touch for a number of years now, and thank you. So here we've been using the two logos, one next to the other, in order to convey the great value we put on this project, Easy Genius. That is, so the focus this company is putting on this, not because they are hosting us here, but because we know BIOPAP and we know them to be and to have invested a lot and having had a good and a great vision before everybody else with the sustainability and catering, food service. And as I have said during the last meeting we had in Aosta, and with great turnout. And I can say that there is room for growth. And I am glad to have here with us Cecilia from Milan Ristorazione, and very many people I am glad to meet again and to belong to this Italian excellence, and to listen and present and to see what opportunities lie ahead for us. So thanks to technology. So I go ahead to discuss our portion. My name is Mario Sestito. I introduce myself. I come from Polybox company. We are a company that's a spin-off since '97 of STS, one of the largest Italian companies in the field of materials for food services and the HoReCa sector. We've been one of the first, I think, in dealing with producing, these kind of boxes. Someone initially thought we were crazy, EPP products, and these are innovative materials, very light, very sustainable, and just consider that our container, you see it there, the green one, has been produced out of air for 97% of its content. People are kind of, shocked when we say this and surprised, of course, but this is how things stand, how things are. And this is one of the very first and maybe the only product worldwide, based on the studies of the Statale University of Milan, which has focused on LCA very strongly. So the consumption of, carbon hydroxide, and so 2030 is a very close date, and also water consumption has been a point taken by us. So we want to provide recycled and recyclable products. So the goal for Europe is 30% of materials coming from fossil fuels only, and this is also a goal for us. Non-fossil fuels, of course. When BIOPAP made the introduction before, and they contacted us, of course, at one point. This was a rush against time, as he was saying. We were not thinking of being able to get to present, to host these products, because we were presenting it to some clients initially, and we started off with some, prototypes made by hand, by working on polypropylene, PPE, and I have to thank Angelo and Filippo for helping us out on this, and Michelangelo's mother, because they supported us so strongly, and they gave us good suggestions on how to go about this, and what the approach should have been for this product, or to this project. Sorry, we started off from milled plastics. We tried to put in the food, and Michelangelo had his employees for a few days eat out of those products, those trays, so as to get a feedback from them. Straight away from his employees on the quality of the food, and because what's important here is the quality of food quality. Here I just want to go quick about this. Polybox is one of is part of an American company that works in 5 continents, one of the largest worldwide. We're from California, basically. Parent companies from California. Michelangelo has had great contacts there, and the focus they put on this by the Californians, it's the US, but this is very focused on the environment. This state of California is very focused on the environment, and so they keep investing a lot. Maybe if we can exceed 5% of their GDP for sustainability. So this is the goal. In the K-12 project in California, this state of California is not like the rest of the country, different. Other states don't put the same focus on this. They do work on sustainability. That's very widespread. The focus on sustainability is very widespread. The market challenges here, so they are very important for us. Of course, we try and understand how a tray can be presented, launched on the market. Also in a different context, because with Michelangelo we have discussed the topic and with our clients who are here, and I thank them. Dealers and distributors who are here with us today, they do produce meals for schools, for hospitals, and also the army. We have Duzman and with Luca here and Elena for schools, and they have the need to move these meals around with different dietary approaches, and so we offer the option of putting in these trays systems and these containers, systems that can create some e-signatures. So on our platform, we can single out the readings by container, by tray. I also think by a hospital, for example, I have to provide a special diet, for example, to someone. We can single out, identify the specific tray, and for that patient or that kid or that specific, police department or the army. We know that right now there is a big tender for the army, still in progress, and the individual meal becomes an important element, or even determined fundamental element in everybody's diet. So the challenges we set for ourselves were many. The contribution given by Polybox is to engineer this system, starting off from specific practical needs, real needs, and starting to think what we needed to offer, starting off from a very interesting, smart assumption from BIOPAP to create a world standard. And today, the world standard is the gas-knob system. They have worked as of the very beginning from this gas system. And correct me if I'm wrong, Luca, based on your experience, this gives us the opportunity to have, and you'll see this in the next room, to use all the instruments that lead to the creation of the system, from the trolley, from the maintenance trolleys, the reactivation trolleys, whatever you need to do, because with this system you can work with cook and chill and cook and freeze. And so, as I was told by some colleagues here, why don't we think, as in other European states or countries, also in Italy, we should move around the meals in refrigerated rooms. We save on energy and costs, and we also save on the number of hours needed to handle, to produce these meals at a cooking center, for example, because for the hospital hospital in Zagreb, for example, it's important to try and concentrate production and make it possible for the product to reach the user, the client, the patient in the best way possible, without having any apart from the organoleptic conditions of the food. But safety is really key here. Safety is really the basis for our work. So we see here the system as a whole. But Michelangelo, Filippo, and the team. BIOPAP has gone, one step ahead. Okay, good, the container is there, but we also want to provide the opportunity to the small centers, for example. I'm thinking of nurseries in companies, corporate nurseries, welfare provides for this. In many companies, it's possible to have small nurseries that have just 7 to 14 kids, and to be able to serve them a meal and have something where I can put water, fruit, and the snack in the same tray. So create a system that's scalable. So we go back to what I said before. So using a format, a size that's universally acceptable. So that's gastrono, as it's called, to be included in a scalable system. So this is what we want to go for. So according to the requirements of each individual client.
So without repeating myself, different application in the world of food service, in the world of catering, and food in general. So this type of tray will be talked about. We presented it in our stand, and we saw a lot of interest. Sorry that a few people have not been able to attend today because it was a 5-day exhibition, so it was very intense. But really, we saw incredible interest in our products, and I think that in the next few days, Michelangelo's team will be very much busy to present and test the product. The advantages of PPE, we discussed it earlier, EPP. Elasticity is extremely important. 96% is made of air and is extremely light. And I go back to what my colleague was saying about Stora. So they're very good at working within the forestry sector. We have a product that is made of plastic, but it is 100% recyclable. So the idea is to rethink of packaging so that packaging can be used and reused over a long amount of time, and that at the end of the cycle, at the end of the life cycle, they can be given a second life, if you will. So I'm thinking about some sort of a virtual circle, and the idea of circularity, so thinking of packaging with an idea in mind of what that packaging will be in the future. So we're already working with a number of bodies, or public bodies and private bodies, so that they invest in campaigns to allow our clients to transform their products, as already discussed, to transform these boxes into money at the end of their life cycle. So we insert them in a second life project, and this is something that's dear and close to us. So Let me conclude with the roadmap. As I said, we've had a lot of positive feedback during post Milano. Today we're here to test, and hopefully we will sell so that the majority of our clients will start using this new, innovative, sustainable system. Thank you.
Chiamiamo al palco Elena Fucile di Milano Ristorazione. Grazie.
Let's call Elena Fucile from Milano Ristorazione. Thank you.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity to connect. It's very important, and it's a moment that gives us an opportunity to work together. Elena Fucile, I represent Diego Capocci, who is not able to be with us today. I'm going to start by telling you our story concerning. So, Milano Ristorazione is a company born in 2000 in the town hall of Milan with the objective to produce and offer a healthy, good meal for children. The meals are an important moment because they're a moment that is shared together, but is also an opportunity to teach children and to allow them to get closer to the topic of sustainability. Milano Ristorazione produces 83,000 meals a day. Here are some figures: 24 kitchens, 78 nurses, other facilities like holiday homes. We support meals for about 400 other customers and other users that avail of refrigerated services. We fundamentally supply meals in the morning for lunch. In 2025, Comune di Milano, together with Fondazione Cariplo, started the food policy project to promote quality, sustainability, safety, food safety, to teach a correct way of eating. So by promoting the territory, promoting the local areas, and promoting the use of local produce. Sustainability and packaging. Why? Because given the numbers we deal with, we owe it to ourselves to select the right products as well as to carefully select the packaging. So items that we use every day. In 2025, or since 2015, we followed the zero plastic objective, so we use 100% compostable, recycled tools, saving 720,000 kilos of plastic every year. We talk about this particular dish, which is a lasagna made with soybeans ragu. And why do we talk about this dish? Because it's one of the main dishes, most recognizable dishes, typical of Italian cuisine, which has been reproduced through soybeans so that many different users can eat and taste the dish, including those who, for religious reasons, don't eat meat, for example.
Abbiamo, questo probabilmente, scusate, è in doppio, esatto. Allora, questa produzione per noi
Production
è
of this
stata
particular dish
un'esperienza
has
che, diciamo,
been
arriva
for
dal
us an
passato,
experiment, but also something that came, started in the past, we then stopped and started again. So in our winter menu, the dish is again included in the winter menu, and we started to look for a specific container that could close the circle of sustainability. So we did a tender, a public tender. Obviously, we have to tender because we're part of a public service facility. So we did a tender that BIOPAP won, which is the reason why we now use a BIOPAP container. So I will explain the production method, which I know is very useful information for those of you who work in the sector. The productive system or process is the following. First of all, the use of a semi-automatic line, which involves measurement of hot sauces and assembling of, on behalf of the operators, with pasta. So the sauces are served at are used at 70-80 temperature of 70-80 degrees. You can see here some pictures from production process from a couple of days ago. You see the tray, and the tray contains about 1.8 kilo of product. So the tray is filled and the product is then frozen via a hydrogen tunnel to minus 87 degrees for 35 minutes. Then we seal the container, and the boxes are then placed into cardboard. The trays are put into cardboard boxes, and the shelf life is 180 days at a temperature of minus 22 degrees. It is then cooked in the kitchens before being served. So the trays are cooked, the same containers are cooked in the oven for at 170 degrees for 80 minutes.
Andiamo a vedere un pochettino più nel dettaglio le fasi principali. Quindi la fase della surgelazione.
Let's have a look at the main stages. So first of all, freezing. The freezing stage has allowed us to see the behavior of the container. The container has responded very well. It doesn't crystallize, it doesn't lose shape, it keeps its shape and allows us to freeze in a blast chiller at minus 87.
Con tutto quello che ne deriva, per cui la massima igiene e sicurezza della
by keeping hygiene and respecting the organoleptic qualities of the product. Sealing with heat was a bit of a critical situation in the past because but we found a solution thanks to the film that's used on top of this tray. It works well. We're also able to stack the products. We can stack 5 boxes of 1.8 kilos. We use some kind of suspenders in between one and the other box, but there's no problems in terms of losing shape.
La fase appunto della cottura.
In terms of cooking,
Ci ha permesso di avere questo grande vantaggio. Lo stesso identico contenitore che noi utilizziamo per l'assemblaggio del prodotto in produzione,
the same container that's used to assemble the product.
Come consumatori. Quindi nello stesso momento
So
conosciamo e viviamo le esigenze di chi
we have an eye on both production and consumers. So
per cui capiamo quali sono
we understand the issues that may have been incurred in production and consumption.
Anche dopo la cottura,
So after cooking, the product has not lost any of its qualities, and the advantage by using the same tray, who's then placed into gastronome to being cooked, we do not dirty the gastronome. So these ladies who used to cook in gastronomes are now they don't have to clean and wash the cooking trays, which is basically positive for the environment. It is also a container that once you take it out of the oven, it does not burn, because this allows us to be attentive in that sense as well.
Quindi cosa possiamo concludere? Possiamo concludere che la sostenibilità.
So what else can we say? Well, we can conclude that sustainability is a 360 exercise, not just by focusing on the raw materials, but also focusing on the containers that must follow the times, must answer the needs of the sector. And it's important to find a company that really immerses itself and understands the needs of the sector. Sustainability is something that we are really committed to. We work with different projects, but I'm only here to talk about this specific project. The fact that we do not touch the food as much as before, despite all the processes from production to cooking to storage and all of that, it's very important, the fact that we do not touch the food itself anymore. And then being able to handle the trays after cooking is very important, because it's a much safer way to handle the trays. So we wish to thank our partners, because they've given us the opportunity to have an excellent final product. Thank you.
Come sempre per le domande
For questions, of course, during the next break. So thank you, Elena Fucile. She was great in describing the BIOPAP commitment, and also thank you for the felt appreciation based on the great experience made. Now, another important experience from other great partners, clients and friends from Hoffmann's. Hoffmann manufacture, Carsten Schulte, Tim Schmidt, great. So let's go with the younger, great. So the floor to him.
So buongiorno, my name is Tim Schmidt, and I'm here together with Mr. Carsten Schulte, our head of quality at Hoffmann's. We are very happy to be here today at the BIOPAP Innovation Day, and we would like to share with you how our partnership with BIOPAP has helped us create an innovative and sustainable solution for the delivery of frozen ready meals in the B2C sector. But first, some little facts about our company, about Hoffmann's. Hoffmanns has its roots going back over 65 years, starting as a small family-owned butcher shop in Germany. Since then, we have grown into a nationwide company for the production of frozen ready meals with more than 1,200 employees, serving customers all over Germany. But what has never changed in all this time is our philosophy. We combine traditional craftsmanship with modern technology, and we focus on quality, reliability, and taste. Or as we like to say, natural, simple, delicious. Today, Hoffmann serves a wide range of customers, from company catering and social institutions to hospitals, catering services, and our online shop, which I will talk about in more detail in just a few moments. At Hoffmann's, quality starts with the ingredients. For this reason, we source from many regional partners, which we know and also trust. And after that, our meals are freshly cooked by professional cooks and then frozen immediately, so they stay as fresh and as on the first day when the customer eats them. And all of this without the use of preservatives, which is a part of our Hoffmann's purity policy. All in all, we offer more than 1,600 menu options, and in our online shop alone, customers can choose out of about a little bit over 100 ready-made meals. They are all produced under strict quality standards, are frozen to preserve freshness and taste, and delivered directly to the customers' homes. So I hope I made clear that quality, safety, and taste are at the heart of everything we do at Hoffmann's. And of course, this same standard also applies to our packaging. Sorry. In the recent years, sustainability has become one of the most important drivers of innovation for us at Hoffmann's. We asked ourselves, how can we deliver high-quality meals in a way that is both practical for the consumer and responsible for the environment? And that's where BIOPAP came in. On the right-hand side here, you can see our sustainable packaging system for the B2C online shop. From the tray to the insulation and the outer box. The key element here is, of course, the BIOPAP single-serving tray. Thank you. The BIOPAP single-serving tray. Unlike conventional plastic trays, for example, it's made entirely from renewable raw materials, is fully compostable, and even usable as biogas feedstock. For that reason, this innovation was recognized with the German Packaging Award in 2020, honoring its outstanding contribution to sustainable food packaging and its ability to combine functionality with environmental responsibility. The BIOPAP trays are heat-resistant, freezer-safe, and oven-proof, combining functionality with environmental responsibility. For the outer packaging, we use double-walled cardboard, which ensures stability and eliminates the need for plastic insulation. And to maintain temperature during shipment, we rely on Landpack's straw insulation panels. They are climate neutral, compostable, and as effective as styrofoam. Thank you, Michelangelo. Landbeck solution, for this reason, has been recognized with the German Sustainability Award in 2025. Together, BIOPAP, Landpack, and our cardboard packaging form a fully sustainable system that protects both our product and the environment. Our customers have responded extremely positive to this change. They value not only the quality and convenience of our meats, but also the environmentally friendly packaging. Many describe the trays as eco-friendly, practical, and great to look at. And for us, this feedback shows that sustainability and customer satisfaction truly can go hand in hand. Our cooperation with BIOPAP began in the year 2018, when we started introducing BIOPAP trays for multi-portion products. Since this time, many innovations have resulted from the collaboration between Hoffmanns and BIOPAP. One example of this are our multi-compartment trays. They are called SE21 and SE16. And they have been perfectly tailored to our specific needs. Since 2021, all meals in company catering and in our Hoffmanns online shop have been delivered exclusively in BIOPAP packaging. As such, the BIOPAP trays and lids have become an really, I would like to say, essential part of our company's sustainable packaging strategy, and they play a key role in our overall commitment to environmental responsibility. But does this concept really stand out in the market? When we look at the B2C market for frozen ready meals, most competitors still depend on plastic packaging. I have some examples for you. Every Foods and Prep My Meal, for example, use plastic bags, while Jude uses paper trays, but they are sealed with plastic film, which means that packaging is indeed not fully recyclable or compostable. At Hoffmanns, together with BIOPAP, we take it a step further. With BIOPAP, our trays are made almost entirely from paper, are fully compostable, and contain no plastic film at all. This makes our packaging environmentally responsible and part of a true circular system. And I think that's a clear step ahead of current market standards. So I hope my presentation has shown us that the partnership with BIOPAP has shown us that innovation and tradition indeed can go hand in hand. And that even a company with a long history like Hoffmanns can be a leader in sustainable transformation. Together with BIOPAP, we want to continue setting new standards for responsible food production in the frozen ready meals sector. Thank you very much for your attention. On behalf of Hoffmanns and our Quality Assurance Department, Carsten and I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the ongoing collaboration with BIOPAP over the past years. We're really proud of what we have achieved together, and we are also excited about what's yet to come. Grazie.
Thank you very much, Tim. Again, here, fantastic. It's nice to have, these are only the kinds of customers and partners we have at BIOPAP, because we share everything. And this sharing is about creating always innovation, sustainability, and growth, positive growth, but in a sustainable way. And this is fantastic. And here you see, because this box was, it's still frozen. This is how it gets, and it's unbreakable.
Carsten and I packed this box yesterday morning, and we drove with it about 7 hours to Italy. And it's still, as you can see, it's still cold.
Completely intact and ready to go in the oven or in the freezer. Or to eat. Of course, we will store it now because nothing will be wasted, and we will be eating maybe in the afternoon. For the one who will follow the project, we will put it in the oven, reheat it, and even taste it. Thank you very much again. Now it's the time for Simone Orse to come on stage, which will start with showing the best performing case of Milan in organic recycling waste. And we have a partnership with AMSA, and together we like to say we turn waste into resources.
Thank you. Grazie a tutti. Ok, va bene. Okay.
Great.
Allora,
Let's
io
carry
sono
on.
Simone Orsi,
My name is Simone
del
Orsi
marketing
from
territoriale di
the AMSA Territorial
AMSA fa
Marketing.
parte
AMSA is part of the
A2A.
A2A. This is the
Diciamo che
group
ci siamo
we belong to, and
recentemente,
recently
battezzati come
we've been rebranded as a life company.
Life Company perché di
Because
fatto il nostro lavoro,
actually our
quello di
work
occuparci alla
is to
fine della vita
deal
delle persone,
with
facendo,
people's life.
servizi,
We provide
diciamo,
services,
ambientali,
environmental
e
services,
occupandoci
and
dell'energia,
we deal with
di fatto
energy,
ci occupiamo
power,
delle
and
persone.
thus doing we deal with people's life,
quindi della
and so sustainability in the end.
Saltiamo un po' i
So let's
dati
skip this and go straight to this other table. We work around Italy with our systems and plants, and today you'll be visiting the La Chiarella plant. This is an aerobic and composting plant where we process and also, BIOPAP, end-of-life BIOPAP products into biogas and compost. So
Questo per qui vedo
waste
che
management in Milan.
dato il ciclo
Here you see the cycle as it
rifiuto che diventa
is shown.
risorsa,
This waste becomes organic waste,
vedo
becomes
anche
a
qui i nostri
resource.
cartelli, la nostra
Also, we
comunicazione
have our
che
communication
va
here and our boxes, our containers, and
testimoniare come
this
noi
shows you how we handle
il rifiuto
waste.
viene gestito al 100%.
We handle it
viene trasformato in
100%
risorsa.
and turned into a resource.
Alcuni dati
So just a few data here
di Milano, cioè noi
for
gestiamo
Milan.
i
We
rifiuti
handle
urbani.
urban waste. 100% of waste is then used as resource. Nothing is brought to the landfill. We don't have a landfill. We haven't had one since 1997. And so the segregated collection has reached 63%. And this includes a large portion of humid waste in the city of Milan. We go door to door, so this means that we go to, Milanese people, homes, and we also serve the, canteens, cafeteria, and corporates.
Facciamo una raccolta
And
differenziata.
we go
Allora,
for segregated collection at source. Of course, we pay lots of attention on sustainability of the trucks we use. A third of our fleet is fed by methane gas.
Sicuramente siamo contenti anche del grado di soddisfazione.
And so we are also happy for the feedback and level of satisfaction of our people because they do appreciate our service. Apparently, given the score we get, we handle the city of Milan and some other municipalities in the suburbs. This is the development of segregated collection. We started off in 1990, in the 90s actually, and we went through a number of steps. And a big innovation was the use of organic waste collection in a large city. This is not to be taken for granted, of course, and this is brought to the current levels of more than 63% for segregated collection in the city. Everything is then used as a resource. What kind of waste do we collect? What's the portion of the organic waste that we collect? Under 43,000 tons a year of human waste, and this is basically food waste. So this is food waste and compostable material. Basically, this accounts for about more than 22% of all urban waste. And then this organic waste collection is our best practice. Out of all the materials we collect, the organic waste is something that we advertise worldwide because this is a circular economy system handling all the various waste types coming from all types of users. So this is a cycle, the circular economy model for Milan, and we don't have a landfill, and everything that cannot be used as a resource is brought to the incinerator. So we have the various types of various fractions. We have organic waste twice a week. Collection is twice a week. You see frequency change here because it has to be handled twice a week for domestic households and all other canteens and other types of restaurants. Collection is daily. So organic waste is collected using the brown box or container. Then we have all the other fractions of the other waste types with the different, collection timing. This is our strategy concerning organic waste. This is our fly in the buttonhole because we handle all organic waste produced by the city of Milan. We're talking about more than 100 kilograms per inhabitant per year. So we started off in 1997 with restaurants, canteens, and bars, coffee houses, large producers, because they do produce more waste, more organic waste than households. Of course, in 2012 we started off with the households, and then we carried on. In 2017, we started off with open markets, weekly markets in the various areas of Milan, and so we keep using compostable bags and all our containers. Now we are at the stage where we are consolidating our activities. We don't want to bring down the level of focus because quality is still key, still very important. We have seen recently sort of ups and downs in the quality of materials. So you know that these new materials, you know them very well. BIOPAP is key here, but not always consumers recognize what really is compostable. They don't really handle them correctly. So we then have non-compostable plastics that do pollute and contaminate other material, the organic material. So this is the approach we take. So we have organic waste handled here. We have also delivered these kind of baskets for households, individual households. This is what we do at markets, open markets. We've used this kind of trolley for using bags, compostable bags all the time. And so, fruit, vegetables, waste is also collected in disaggregated manner. And this is for canteens, you see. This is from Milan Ristorazione data, and all products here, all BIOPAP products, become biogas and compost in our systems, our plants, and they are collected on a daily basis via our collection system. So this to show you the communications campaign we go for all restaurants, and so we have to continue informing citizens and campaigning. We do this with restaurants, with our school project team. This is the school project communication, training communication. This, focuses on what should be thrown out, what should not be thrown out in the organic waste as organic waste. This is our communication material. We try and, focus on what's compostable and, bring this to people's attention and how to deal with them. We have 1,000 tons of organic material, 200 tons of compost, and 100,000 cubic meters of biomethane. We'll see this afternoon more in detail. In a fully integrated management system, this is communications to market, open markets. These are the way we communicate with symbols, so as to allow people to recognize certified compostable products, and they can be put in the organic waste together with food, and to separate this from non-compostable items. We keep finding plastic in the organic waste. That's important to communicate and to make people aware of how things stand. And this is a bit of a complex issue for us. So what do we do in order to focus on circular economy? We organize events where we distribute compost to people. The compost that's reduced thanks to organic waste and can become a fertilizer that can be used in farming, and we provide this to citizens to close the circle, so to speak. So just a hint at this concerning La Chiarella plant. You see it here, was opened 3 years ago, very new. We transform organic waste and compostable waste in biomethane, and starting off from segregate collection, that's just including waste, food waste, and green waste. This is taken to the plant, and there it's processed mechanically, pre-processed. Then there is anaerobic digestion with the production of biomethane, and then you carry on from biogas to this, and then there is a composting, traditional composting portion, and then the production of compost. And this is the entire cycle that's repeated over and over. And you see some figures here for this plant. It processes 100,000 tons per year and of organic waste. And this is the way it is organized. And then we talked about this more specifically in the afternoon, more in depth, if you stay and you come to the plant for a visit. So that's about it for me. Thank you so much. I hope I kept to the time allowed. Thank you so much.
Allora stiamo per riniziare, se prendete posto, con il terzo e ultimo modulo. Comunque grazie per la partecipazione attiva, c'è grande entusiasmo, fermento, ed era uno degli obiettivi di scambiarci.
Thank you so much, because one of the objective is really to come together, discuss, talk, and this is really the mood that we wanted to establish with BIOPAP. This is what's good about meeting in person. I am now leaving the floor to Professor Sara Limbo. She's a fantastic voice in our sector. I'm delighted she was able to accept our invite. She went to university this morning, held a lecture, and then came to us. Thank you, Sara. I leave you the floor.
Grazie a tutti, grazie a BIOPAP per questo invito.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, BIOPAP, for the invitation. I'm honored to be here with you. The title of my presentation is rather long, but my presentation is not long. So we move into a topic that has not been discussed yet, and the idea of using alternative packaging, alternative to plastic, for vegetables. For vegetables, what we call vegetables ready to be consumed. They represent a new trend, a trend that is growing, and consumer is not just buying this type of product to save time, but also because it offers the consumer a possibility to avail of a healthy product. This type of product is still showing some boundaries in a way. First of all, the primary shelf life that reflects the use of packaging, and the second, which is secondary shelf life. So primary shelf life, why? Because preserving this type of product is always a bit of a challenge for those who produce them, and I will explain why. And then because the requirements of the consumer concerns the extension of the shelf life in containers that can be recyclable. So two different types of challenges, and also in terms of distribution, taking into consideration a different aspect as well, which is the possibility and availability to preserve shelf life until consumption in order to avoid waste throughout the value chain. And consumption at home, which is a different type of challenge again, because that involves the extension of shelf life or secondary shelf life after the product has been unsealed. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot to work on, and in terms of this type of products. These two technological limitations, if you will, are connected to certain specifics of the vegetable offering. Vegetable breed, if you will, even after they've been processed, even after they've been boxed, particularly after vegetables have been washed, after vegetable has been cut, they still breed. What does that mean? What do we mean by breeding? They still produce oxygen, they still consume oxygen and produce carbon. So, and that can be influenced by the room temperature. There's some sort of criteria to moderate or to manage vegetables after they've been washed, cut, and boxed. And One is what we call the breeding percentage that allows their data that allow us to evaluate, and you see them in this table, their values and figures that allows to analyze a vegetable that's behaving well, using glucose at the right levels and not continuing to breathe. So these data vary and are important to study depending on the temperature. Creating a mixed salad means that you're putting in the same container products with a different consumption of oxygen. This is why it is a challenge. It is a challenge because the boxing, packaging is extremely important in order to help the extension of life. We can use certain technologies like the technologies that allow for the what we call MAP technologies that allow us to they're gas flashing fundamentally, aiming at treating vegetables individually and separately. So it is important to respect certain, when using packaging in modified atmosphere, it's important to use to work within certain oxygen consumption percentage. This helps maintaining quality. What we're also working on is the idea of a passive modified atmosphere usage, so avoiding the use of gas, limiting the
quando appunto è possibile farlo,
impact on climate and availing of the vegetable metabolism. So we're not inserting extra gas into the packaging, but we allow the vegetable itself to modify the atmosphere through its own breeding. This means that we need to go and work on the packaging itself, which means that the packaging needs to be made with a specific material and with specific characteristics. So permeability and selectivity become important aspects in the selection of a material, an alternative material to plastic, in order to preserve this type of products. The packaging, the ideal packaging, is a packaging that, because of a number of characteristics in terms of permeability and selectivity, allows the gas to create a certain atmosphere through a right balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide to fundamentally avoid excessive storage of carbon dioxide. So thanks to the collaboration with BIOPAP, we have been able to make some comparison between plastic and non-plastic containers based on cellulose, and characteristics with different characteristics, materials with different characteristics, with different permeability percentages in terms of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and with the possibility of different interaction. This has led to the possibility to study and evaluate the evolution of gas atmosphere within these containers according to different types of vegetables, analyzing and evaluating different
circa 9 giorni di conservazione, resta
different
vicino
data,
quei valori
different
ottimali che abbiamo
breeding
in
percentages,
nelle
if you
diverse
will.
soluzioni, non si superano
So-
mai quei limiti di ossigeno e di CO2
so
che
that
possono essere
certain boundaries of oxygen and carbon dioxide are never
quindi questi materiali a base
surpassed.
permette effettivamente
The opportunity to use this type of product allows for the management of passive atmosphere in a better way,
a misura proprio del vegetale che si vuole confezionare.
aimed at individual vegetables and different types of vegetables, taking into consideration the behavior of cellulose
Ha delle prestazioni in termini proprio di selettività differenti. E
and
vado io?
and taking into consideration the respiratory
Ecco, vado avanti, l'ultima, grazie. Ok, vado avanti io. Ok,
percentage
grazie alla struttura molto
quotient.
modulabile,
So,
io credo che sarà
because of the nature of this material, it will be able to actually work on what the real needs are, streamlining the process as well, because we will hopefully eliminate the controlled atmosphere.
Quindi ho concluso e vi ringrazio per l'attenzione.
And this is the end of my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.
Ah, hai fatto il balletto, non ti ho visto, non ti ho dato... Va bene.
Grazie mille, poi ci sarà tempo per delle domande specifiche.
We will have time for questions.
Di docenza si intravedono nella
We
capacità
can see the ability to summarize, typical of those who teach in university.
poi delle conclusioni. Grazie mille.
Thank you.
Penultimo intervento.
Second last presentation.
Medicare, e qui andremo
Let's invite our friends from Medicare.
all'ultimo tema di conservazione riguardo
We will talk about shelf life. We will talk about ready meals and
il grande fine vita
sliced
dell'orchestra che
meats.
poi si conclude. Prego.
Sì, buongiorno a tutti, io sono Valerio Recchia della Medicare Industry.
Good afternoon, Valerio Recchia. I am
Medicare Industry è il settore che
technician in the world of food service. Medicare is a company that produces and distributes
alimentari e industriali. Facciamo parte del gruppo Medicare, siamo presenti
food
sul territorio e siamo leader in Italia per quanto riguarda
and industry medical oxygen. We are a peculiar company,
qua vicino a pochi
and
chilometri, ma presso il
food
nostro
grade gases are what we work with. In the atelier in Bigonza, we have developed
lavorare,
a
confezionare
space where we can produce and freeze different type of products. A client can come to us, and by using blast chillers that are based on nitrogen and different type of technologies, we're able to produce and freeze and package different type of products. We also have a microbiology lab within our facilities, and we can establish the shelf life data, precise data of a specific product before presenting it on the market.
abbiamo fatto diverse prove.
Together with BIOPAP, we've done a number of experimentation, one in our lab and one with a client. We selected different products, different food products, specifically sliced cured meats. The products were sliced in our lab and the aim was a 30-day shelf life. The food-grade gas used are nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and we opted for some mixes which are mainly used within the cured meat system and food service system, so 70-30 percentage, 80-20 for cured ham,
La maggior parte del prodotto è azoto.
Where the majority of the produce used is nitrogen, and the same for mortadella cured meat. Shelf life is the time in which we maintain certain type of product characteristics, whereas by durability we mean the period by which a product needs to be consumed.
Assicurare la sicurezza del prodotto stesso. Quindi abbiamo confezionato queste tipologie di prodotto con il gas.
Produced and packaged this particular type of products by using food-grade gas. We produced hundreds of trays and monitored visually as well, not just in terms of microbiotics, but visually we were examining the product. We were looking at humidity levels, whether humidity was lost, whether there was condensation on the film, on the plastic film, and from
Quindi abbiamo fatto anche delle prove con altro materiale.
the product stood the test.
Sono dati molto incoraggianti e ottimi.
Encouraging data.
Abbiamo comunque mantenuto il prodotto in celle con temperatura.
The products were they were stored in different temperatures, cells or storage units. And in the end, for what concerns the cured meats, despite the fact that we didn't use a white chamber, the product kept for 30 days in good conditions. We then also experimented in situ with a client. Obviously, we offered the machinery and the packaging. So different type of experiment. We packaged cooked products. The request from a client was to reach a 30-day shelf life. We actually reached 40/50 days. The result was excellent. The client were happy, and in this case we used a different type of mix, which was 60/40, slightly more aggressive. The result was anyway appreciated by the client, and this is it. This is us.
Solo per farvi notare, questo è un salume.
Just to show you that this is cured meat. It's been packaged more than 120 days ago, still edible. There's no alteration, no changes, no negative changes of sorts. Great. You already come to the podium since we're a bit delayed. So this is the Italian Composting Consortium. We are honored to have license number 3 in Italy for this, and the first 2 are for Nova Mondo. We are the second company in Italy to believing very much in composting, and together with these colleagues, such as, for example, Massimo Centemero and then Marco Ricci. And they are the actual leaders of this union, the Italian Composting Consortium. We've done a lot together. So Good day to you all. My name is Alessandra Porro from the Italian Composting Consortium. I've been invited today here, so thank you, BIOPAP, for talking about organic recycling. It's difficult to do it in just a few minutes. I'll try and offer you a simple picture by showing how important it is to transform, to process organic waste as in resources such as compost and biogas. Just a few words about us. This was set up more than 30 years ago, and this promotes and enhances everything that deals with the organic recycling approach. And we do this with the stakeholders, about 150 members, and also working together hand in hand with international organizations and European organizations, as, for example, ECM, the European Compost Network. ECN. So within this consortium, we have a technical body, which is the body dealing with processing the data collected throughout the system, so 100%, and they issue two important certificates for organic recycling. One is the CIC compostable mark, and this attests to the actual compostability of a product or a package according to EN 13432, and the CIC quality compost mark that certifies the actual quality of the compost obtained at the end of the processing of the organic waste. So when we talk about organic recycling, we talk about circular economy for real. Italy was a precursor for this kind of good practice. It's one of the leading countries concerning recycling and handling of organic waste, and we've increased a lot our levels. We are at a standstill now, a consolidation rather of this system. But in spite of this, we collect about 7.5 million tons per year of organic waste. And this is comprised of the urban and green portions, and we are one of the most virtuous countries because we collect about 127 kilograms per year per inhabitant of organic waste, as you can see from the chart. All of this organic fraction is collected and then brought to the composting system or plant, and through aerobic processing we obtain compost, and also we have other integrated systems that via anaerobic digestion and production of biogas and biomethane, these lead to the creation of about 475 million tons of biogas today. And then we also have composting that's derived from this processing. So from 7.5 million tons of organic waste per year, once transformed, we obtain 2 million tons of compost. So compost is a natural fertilizer, and to date, even in Italy, with our soil, which is poorer and poorer in organic carbon, we're talking about 1-2% percentage, very low indeed for this kind for our soils. Using compost as a nourishment for this soil is very important. Because in this way we increase biodiversity, providing nourishment, and counters the effect of climate change and the erosion of soil, and increases water retention, and this fosters fertility in the soil, fertilization of soil, and of course it also captures carbon dioxide, so it's very important also in combating any possible types of pollution. So what can citizens do in order to promote this virtuous circle more and more? Segregate collection is done in the right way, can be one way, and so to do this, canteen waste or kitchen waste should be put into the organic box with They also can add, bags and all compostable materials. They all have to be, compostable, certified compostable, because only thus doing can have a positive environmental impact. What does this mean? It means that recycling this type of packages or products that are used in the food sector can be dirty, contaminated, that is, with organic waste. This organic recycling becomes the best solution, because this enables to recover the contaminated packages that otherwise would be brought to the landfill and would not be recycled mechanically. And so this enables to avoid to collect and brought to the incinerator with the clear results, and to increase the organic waste amount that can be turned into actual compost and biogas. What does it mean to be, compostable, certified as compostable according to UNI EN 13432? This shows how to certify that the packaging is actually compostable. 4 steps are included, and so every step must be passed in order to go to the next. You have chemical characterization, sort of an ID of a product, and there you assess the percentage of organic carbon present, and most of all, the levels of heavy metals and dangerous substances that have to be below given levels. Once you pass this step, you go on to biodegradable. It must be 90% in most, at most 6 months. And then disintegration also in this case must be also 90% in 84 days. And then compost obtained, we assess quality of it via chemical and physical analysis. And we also assess the possible negative effects on plant growth, and so possible ecotoxic effects. So the Italian Composting Consortium decided to, assess full-scale packaging. So going to the composting plant to assess the disintegration. In order to do this, we cooperate with UNI. And this is PDR 79, and here we consider the disintegration of the product, the packaging, in a real scenario, and what happens when the product, is brought to the composting plant. And of course, this provides many advantages, because you see actually the actual compostability, and this shows whether the plant is really processing really degradable materials, and checks on the environment. Now, for additional information and to view all the Italian companies, and not only those that have been certified and obtained the CIC compostable mark. The site is www.compostable, as you can see, .it. And as we said, BIOPAP is one of the first companies that obtained the mark, the CIC compostable mark, for the entire line. So the mark should be put on all containers. Once you've got it, it must be there also on the outside packaging, because we have an alphanumeric code that enables to connect this with the company and product. Since Italy was one and is one of the leaders concerning organic recycling and circular economy, therefore one needs to do something more, because recently the quality of organic waste that's collected is worsening, and the percentage of non-compatible material, which is increasing. So in order to do good, continuing doing good, one of the key issues and hinge points for the ecological environmental transition is to develop, as also BIOPAP does, innovative solutions and materials. One can think of, making the plants more efficient, of course, and we have to try and have just packages and products and also bags that are really certified as compostable. So this is what one should do. Thank you so much for your attention, and I thank BIOPAP again. For any information, you find my contacts there.
Alessandro, solo una cosa.
Just one thing, Alessandro, to conclude, and I thank you so much. Very important, this method, this approach,
La disintegrazione full scale,
No,
ma anche
includes a full-scale approach and also sampling by the auditor, independent auditor, every year. And of course, they do take the samples from the warehouse and they check their variability. You cannot just submit an item today for certification and then produce something else. The only one worldwide is this. And this is very important today because in terms of market, we find very many products that go for greenwashing. And so being able to have this additional control step, check step, is something that's very important worldwide in fighting illegality, illegal marks. And this is good for citizens, the environment, and also this is a good thing to do for promoting those who have the right approach. One last thing, given your experience, previous experience in independent labs, of course, they do carry out very good tests according to the 13432 norm. There is a difference between carrying out, and testing in the lab and going full scale. There's a difference between just a simple analysis and going full scale, because in the lab, for example, you set and you carry out the test as described in the rule. But another thing is to go full scale, because even if you try and keep the same parameters in real scale, things are different vis-a-vis the lab scale, of course. And so, for example, take temperature. Of course, the process, the performance is the same, but we are subject to what happens in the environment. And so it's very important that the product, the package, is actually made up of compostable materials, because the lab uses better conditions. It makes it easier for a product to disintegrate, while on a real scale, since you have to consider what happens in the environment, the temperature can be high, we are within the range, there can be some variability, you can have lower temperature vis-a-vis what's set in the lab. So the materials must really be compostable and so destroyable. Just one more minute, Alessandra. This is very important because even as prescribing entities in the tenders, in the specifications and purchase specs and so on and so forth, this is very important to understand. It makes a big difference between really being compostable or just being nominally compostable, because composting is not produced in the lab, but at the members' plant. So this is just a key item. So we as players in the field who can really have an impact on your purchase decisions in the guidelines and specifications, indications. You should reward this excellent approach to making analysis, to performing the analysis, because this testifies to the actual disintegration of a product, because here we help out in improving the thresholds and disseminating information. Over the past period, since EIC takes part in very many standardization meetings, we're trying to promote more and more this type of full-scale approach, really on the actual scale, because very much likely we have realized that there were some differences, some discrepancies between what happens and you find out in the lab and what happens in the real world. So recently we're working on a European and international level to promote this new testing approach, especially for this integration of our products and our packages. Thank you again. We come to the end of our meeting. So, given that the next step is launch, so that's been prepared by our friends from Concordia, I'd like to ask you to move to the kitchen area, and then each of us will come back to our seats to eat our lunch with this Genius ecosystem approach. How long, maybe someone asked. Even more, I'm slow eater, so our friends in Concordia can explain us the menu, what's on the menu today, and how it's prepared. And they also describe how, as full-scale first users of the system, what's their feedback, and then each of you will assess on their own by tasting and checking how it is. And so at the end, you, if you so wish, can take home with you an Easy Box with an Easy Genius as a memento and possible application to be shown to your colleagues. One last thing. Organization-wise, we'll have, after lunch, we'll have other meetings. We go to visit the La Chiarella plant, thanks to Simone Orsi, who mentioned this before and allows us to go and visit, together with our colleagues from A2A. For those who've enrolled, there'll be a bus, of course, to go there, to La Chiarella. And, if you go to the site, then you'll go by bus. So for those who so wish, there'll be something else proposed by Mario and Fabio, a visit to our production site, the main one, for our colleagues who haven't visited yet this site. We'll be pleased, of course, to host you there. And then there will be other in-depth modules in the afternoon on specific technologies for those who registered. So thank you all for participating in this very interesting session, highly interactive meeting. So lunch now, and we'll draw the conclusions at the end. So goodbye for now.